When we think of Christmas, we think of warm lights, decorated trees, and families gathering. But during World War II, millions of people lived in cities that were dark, damaged, and constantly under threat. And yet, against all odds, people still found ways to celebrate Christmas. In London, in Berlin, in small towns and big cities across Europe. Today's episode reveals the powerful, emotional, and inspiring story of how Christmas survived, even in bombed cities during World War II London. 1940. The Blitz had been going on for months. Buildings were damaged, windows shattered, and entire neighborhoods were covered in dust and debris. But as Christmas approached, something amazing happened. Londoners refused to let the season die. Families swept rubble from their doorways. They hung small decorations on the corners of broken buildings. Shops that still had their windows painted Christmas greetings on wooden boards covering the glass. Some families who lost their homes placed tiny Christmas trees in air-raid shelters, decorating them with scraps of ribbon and pieces of colorful paper. One woman wrote in her diary, "The city is dark, but the spirit is bright. Church bells didn't ring. They were silent because of wartime rules. But people still gathered, quietly, lighting candles in their windows to show hope. Even soldiers stationed in the city joined in. They helped children hang makeshift ornaments and sang carols in shelters deep underground. It wasn't the London anyone remembered, but it was a Christmas London would never forget. Across Europe, Christmas had a new rule. Blackout, lights off, curtains closed. Cities went dark every night. In Germany, families celebrated Christmas almost entirely by candlelight. Not for style, but for safety. Still, the traditions continued. Parents carved wooden toys. Mothers baked holiday bread when ingredients were available. Children decorated trees with whatever they could find. Paper stars, painted cardboard ornaments, and strings made from old fabric. One German family wrote years later, "We could not light up the street, but we could light up our living room." Sometimes neighbors gathered to share a single holiday meal. People who had little decided to give even less to others who needed it more. Even in the darkness, Christmas found a way. In London, the underground train stations became temporary homes for thousands of people during air raids. On Christmas Eve, these tunnels glowed with life. Children played games in the corridors. Musicians brought violins and harmonicas. Families hung paper chains made from torn newspapers. And volunteers brought tea and biscuits for everyone. The sound of laughter echoed through the tunnels, a rare sound during wartime. One American soldier stationed in Britain wrote home saying, "I've never seen people fight for joy the way Londoners do. There were no fancy gifts, no glittering trees, just people finding comfort with strangers, turning darkness into celebration." Christmas during World War II was not about big presents or big meals. It was about the smallest things becoming miracles. A soldier surprising his family by coming home for one night. A group of neighbors singing carols outside to lift spirits. Children waking up to find a single chocolate bar, the rarest treat of all. A broken radio suddenly working long enough to play one Christmas song. There are stories of pilots flying supplies on Christmas Eve, of volunteers sewing gifts for families who had lost everything, and children writing letters not asking for toys, but wishing for peace. These small moments are what kept hope alive. Christmas in bombed cities wasn't perfect. It wasn't bright or colorful, but it was powerful. Because Christmas became more than a holiday, it became a reminder that even in destruction, people could still choose hope. Londoners celebrated with courage. German families celebrated with resilience. And across the world, families looked for light in the darkest winter. These stories show us something important. No matter how hard life gets, human beings will always find a way to create moments of joy. That is the real Christmas miracle of World War II. Not decorations, not presents, but the bravery of people who kept the spirit of the holiday alive, even when everything around them was falling apart. Thanks for watching.